Hey Moonrays, welcome back to my Sims 4 channel. Today we are actually finally back working on my Building Newcrest series. If you don't know, I've been having trouble finishing this series off. I think we have about 4 more builds to do, and you'll actually see another build that I'm working on next to this build. That is my motel build. That motel had so many different versions to it before I finally just decided on putting it in Newcrest. So we're gonna talk a little bit about Lovestruck today, okay? I know it doesn't seem relevant to the title of this video, but we'll get to that. First, I want to talk about Lovestruck because I opted not to get the Lovestruck pack, and it's like, who are you? Who are you, RaellySims? Who cares if you got the Lovestruck pack or not? I just decided that I would observe other people's content, and you know, I am on a budget. I really don't have a lot of money right now. Money is really tight, actually. So I wanted to make sure that I was putting my money into something that I was really gonna use. And so I observed a lot of different content based on the pack, and in all honesty, it just didn't seem worth the price point for me at this time. So I decided to skip on Lovestruck. Maybe one day I'll get it if it's on sale or something like that, but for now I'm gonna wait. And the reason this is relevant is because next to this build I have a motel that I'm working on in my Building Newcrest series as well, and that started out as a woohoo motel. Mom, if you are watching this, do not ask me what that means. I don't want to answer that question, okay? Just ignore it. But it was meant to be based on the motel that you see in the Lovestruck trailer, but I kind of wanted to put my own spin on it. So it was going to be the same colors, kind of still run down, but more of a motel than a hotel. So I ended up working on that, and I didn't like how it turned out because I didn't have the windows or anything that was featured in that build, and to me it just wasn't very recognizable as that build. I ended up turning it into just a regular motel. I had so many different vibes that I had given it, and eventually I'm like, okay, this is in Newcrest, let's just make it fit the other builds that I had been working on. So it has a little bit of a modern country vibe to it, and my goal was that I wanted that build to kind of look like it was owned by the same people who own the cafe that I built a while back. If you don't know what I'm talking about, I will link that video in the description below. If I've forgotten, please scream at me down in the comments to link it because I tend to forget. But the reason I'm talking so much about that build is because it's not finished yet. I have to do the whole interior still, and so that's why you see the exterior, and we're working on this new build. The reason I'm working on this new build today instead was just I really wanted to make something different. For whatever reason, that motel took me so long to do that I'm just like, I need a break. I need to build something else so that way I can start fresh again and feel like I've had a little bit of a break from it. So I decided that I wanted to build a restaurant. This whole strip has a cafe, now a motel, and a Chinese restaurant. I don't know what the last build on this part of Newcrest is going to be. I have no idea. Maybe a shop of some sort, like a thrift store. I think that would be kind of cool because my version of Newcrest is I'm trying to make it as realistic as possible based on a lot of the stuff that I see in real life. So this restaurant here is based on 3 different restaurants that I go to IRL. Kind of just taken them all and mushed them together and made my own thing out of it. But I used photos of the interior from all 3 of my favorite Chinese restaurants and used those as references to make the interior look as accurate as possible based on what I can use in the game. So I am going to apologize if some of the things I used in the interior aren't quite right for Chinese culture. This was me just trying to use anything from the game that closely resembled the decor that I saw from the photos of the places I go to in real life. It is The Sims. Unfortunately, everything isn't quite as accurate as I would like it to be, and you kind of have to be creative and play a little bit of pretend. Pretend that certain things represent the real thing, you know what I'm saying? But I can't tell you guys how much fun I had with this build. This was just like pure joy for me, which is so crazy because I'm really not good at community lots. I don't typically enjoy them, but I think just because this one was so based in reality for me, I enjoyed it with my whole heart. I had such a blast. So being honest, I'm a pretty picky eater, but I am I am a big fan of Chinese food. My goodness. There are certain dishes that I just love so much. So first of all, my favorite dish that I get from my favorite Chinese takeout spot is walnut shrimp. OMG. walnut shrimp is absolutely delicious. So it's in like this delicious sweet cream sauce, and it has walnuts, and it comes with broccoli, and it's just so yummy. But I also really love Chinese noodles in like all forms. They're just so delicious and so superior to anything that we make here in the US. And I have a lot of really good memories of going to this really nice Chinese buffet as a kid. It was actually huge, like a big restaurant, and unfortunately they went out of business years ago, but they were owned by a super nice family. Can't remember what the kid's name was, but there was a kid, I think a year younger than me, that I used to kind of hang out with a little bit, and I have so many good memories. They used to have crab leg day, and I am from Maryland. We love our crab here. So they had huge, and I mean huge, crab legs at this buffet, and I remember going there so often because it was super cheap. And I don't know, I just have such good memories of going there as a kid, being a picky eater but liking crab legs, and I would go there and I would eat crab legs and rice. That would be what I would eat, and I would have pudding for dessert. And then there was actually another restaurant that is still in business that I still go to every once in a while that is also a buffet. This one is based more on the takeout place that I go to that isn't a buffet. It's more of just a traditional restaurant. But I took a lot of inspo from a smaller Chinese buffet that I still go to every once in a while, where they actually have this one wall of just mirrors. And I didn't want to do that with the whole wall in this restaurant because this place is so small and I didn't want it to intersect with the booths, but we do put that behind the table that sits at the front of the restaurant, and I thought that looked cool. And they also had a really cool fish tank, so that's why I ended up using that from Cats and Dogs. I really love that item, and I don't feel like I get to use it nearly enough. Cats and Dogs is such a good pack. It's still to this day one of my very favorites. Again, I think I talked about this in my last video of the ranch that I did. I just really love country vibes, I think. So I love Cats and Dogs. I love Horse Ranch. What's the other one that kind of reminds me of Horse Ranch and Cats and Dogs? There's another one, Cottage Living. I love that one too. All three of those really fit together so nicely. But anyway, I wanted this restaurant to look a little bit worn out. The goal was to make this look really beautiful on the inside, very well kept and organized and clean, but the building itself has some wear and tear from being older and just seeing a lot of traction over the years. And that's how the Chinese restaurants buildings usually are that I go to. They're always super clean and beautiful on the inside, but you can just tell that it's an older building. So I really wanted to reflect that by using a couple of cracks here and there. I used a bunch of stains, not really to represent stains, but to represent older flooring, because honestly, the flooring that we have in game, even if it's supposed to look a little rougher, it still doesn't look quite as rough as I want it to, so I usually use a lot of cracks and stains to make it just look like it's older and it's seen some wear and tear throughout the years. So that was really fun. I really like to do that. We end up putting a lot more cracks and dirt and things like that on the exterior as well, just to age it. And as you can see, we're working on the little kitchen area here. This should function like a restaurant. The only thing I'm not sure about, I don't playtest these builds, guys. I'm super lazy. I just like the fun of building, and I never actually play in what I create, so I don't know if it works. It should work like a restaurant just fine. The biggest issue is that I put the serving station, no, not the serving station, it's the other item, the little check-in, I don't know what it's called. I alt placed that and made it look like it was kind of a register sitting on top of the counter. So I don't think that will work. You'll probably have to delete the counter and just use it that way, but I kind of did it just for the vibes. I like the way that it looked. This one was just so fun because I got to use a lot of items that I don't normally get to utilize. I also really liked using red. I honestly am not a fan of the color red. I just don't typically enjoy it, but it worked really well for this build. And I liked using the splash of red with the warm toned walls. I think that makes the place seem so warm and cozy, and I feel like I would really enjoy eating here. To be honest, I think it's so pretty. But we are nearing the end of my Building Newcrest series. As I mentioned, after the motel motel build. We will have one more build to go, and I don't know what it will be. I'm assuming that it'll be a thrift store of some kind, but I am willing to take any and all suggestions. So if you have any idea what the last build in this series should be, please let me know down in the comments below. It does need to be some kind of community lot because that's what this whole area is. These 4 lots, it's just going to be a big shopping district basically. So if you guys have any suggestions, please leave those down in the comments below. I would love to hear them. But here we are going through and just kind of making the place look a little more worn, making the building look a little older, because you know, that's just my thing. That's my thing. Everything in this game looks just so shiny and brand new, so it's so challenging for me to rough things up a little bit. It's just something that I really enjoy doing, and making things look a little bit overgrown and older and like nothing's perfect, you know what I'm saying? Because that is what we see in real life. I don't know about you guys, but I rarely go to a restaurant or a store that's like not like a big corporation that is like perfect on the outside or the inside. Nothing's ever perfect, you know what I mean? So I think that's very realistic. Also, I ended up adding a big truck because I figured they probably brought in food supplies. Here's the thing, I don't know how this truck would have gotten back where I put it. There is no way for that truck to have accessed that spot. You'll see what I'm talking about here in a minute. Just don't think about it, okay? Just don't think about it. It's just for the vibes. It's just for the vibes. It's meant to look realistic, not actually be realistic. You know what I'm saying? I just wanted a big food truck to be at the corner of the build. Like, look at that. How would it have gotten there? I don't know. There's no way. So I thought that was kind of funny, but I really wanted it there, so I decided to do it anyway. But one thing is that it was really important for me to have nice landscaping at both sides of the parking lot, because that was another thing that I've noticed about the Chinese restaurants that I go to, is that they always have really good landscaping. It's always super beautiful. They use really nice trees and really nice bushes, and so I wanted the landscaping to be as nice as possible. I am not a plant person. I don't know anything about plants or trees or anything like that, but I just tried to replicate what I see. So at the Chinese restaurant I go to, my favorite one, they have a big red tree. No idea what kind of tree that is, but I made sure to put a red tree at the back of the building. And then they also have a green tree with some white flowers on it. Again, no idea what that is, but I tried to replicate that here, as you can see. And then I just added in like some nicely manicured bushes and things like that. And we're going through and roughing up the exterior of the building. We need more dingy wallpapers. I think we get one with Lovestruck, but again, I don't have that pack, so I would love to see some dingy wallpapers added to base game. That would be awesome. Please and thank you, Sims team, if you are watching this. I'm sure you're not, but still. For the off chance that you are, please and thank you. But we are coming up on the screenshots now, you guys, so I really hope you enjoyed today's build. If you did, please be sure to give the video a thumbs up and subscribe to become a member of the Moon Rays. And with that said, I hope you guys are having a fantastic day, and I'll talk to you all in the next one. Bye, everybody.